What is up? It is your beast from the East, Kreepy Koala here, and what I have for you guys today is another story time video. Now, this story time video is about the time that I almost died. Now, this was actually really close. Like, if I had not gone to the hospital sooner than, like, within a week, I probably would have been dead right now. I don't know if I'm over-exaggerating it a bit, but that's what I heard. So let's just go ahead and get right into this story. Now, flashback to about 5 to 6 years ago, whenever I first moved to Naples, Florida, which is where I still live at the moment, and I had moved into this quite nice neighborhood. I used to live in a really nice 2-story house, and I lived in I don't know, it was just kind of like one of those rich fancy kind of neighborhoods. And as a kid, I used to always go outside and play. I used to always go out and ride my bike, go and play baseball with all the kids on my street. But there was this one kid that was a little bit further down the street. He was sort of like on the end of the street that I would usually ride my bike down to his house, and we would like go inside his house and we would play PlayStation and we would play baseball and basketball outside and stuff. And he was basically like, I guess he was technically like my best friend of the neighborhood, I guess you could say, and we basically used to always play outside together. And ever since I moved away from that neighborhood, I haven't really heard from him since then. I hope he's doing well though. Hopefully he's not selling drugs like half the people that I know that go to my school. And yeah, so anyways, one day I went over to his house and we were playing I don't know what kind of basketball game it was. I don't think it was NBA, because it was like they were playing on courts that seemed like they would have been like in a park. So it was like, I don't know, smash ball or some shit. I don't know what the fuck it was called. It was some basketball game, and I don't know, I was really good at it for some reason. I don't know, I wasn't good at it whenever it came to like dribbling the ball and stuff around, getting around him and stuff, but it was more along the lines of I was good at stealing the ball, and every single time he got near me, I would just instantly steal the ball and go back to his side, and it really made him mad and stuff, and it was really funny. But that's not how I almost died. He didn't go to the kitchen, get a knife, and then be like, "You fucking beat me so many times, I'm pissed, I'm gonna kill you." He didn't do any of that. It was more of like an infectious injury, I guess you could say. But as it was getting a little bit later, it was about 6 o'clock. He was gonna go downstairs and eat dinner, so it was my time to go home, because I was gonna go home and eat dinner at my house, and we were probably gonna hang out the next day. So I had rode my bike to his house, so obviously I'm gonna ride my bike back to my house, and it's probably like less than a 2-minute ride back to my house from my bike. Walking, it probably would have been like 3 to 4 minute walk, I guess you could say. But anyways, I'm riding down this sidewalk that's kind of bumpy. It's, I don't know, it was like getting construction on it or something. There were like some really big like bumps, and I wasn't really taking that into fact since I was like 10 or 11 years old. I was just kind of riding to get home, so I was trying to ride as fast as I could to get home, when all of a sudden I came up to a really big like uneven spot in the sidewalk that I had actually originally forgotten about, because I was just more focused on getting home. So here I am going as fast as I possibly can, pedaling my 11-year-old heart out, trying to get home as fast as possible, when all of a sudden I just felt the bike flip from underneath me, and I kinda just flew over the handlebars. That's whenever I had remembered, in midair, I remembered that the sidewalk was uneven there and I had made a huge mistake, and I landed in a really bad position. I tried to stop myself with my arms, but I ended up scraping my entire right arm up. Like, I scraped my elbow up so freaking bad that it was like all bleeding and stuff, and I had scraped up my elbow because I kind of landed on my arm a little bit. I'm so surprised that I didn't break my arm or anything from this, because it was like a really rough landing. I ended up landing it, and of course, being the little kid that I am, I start crying, and I don't know what got into my head. For some reason, I just assumed that if I told my mom that I got hurt, that I would be in trouble. So at the time, I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, so I kind of just went into my garage and put my bike there, and then I went inside and then just walked past my mom without saying anything, and then immediately went upstairs to go and take a shower. And so I took a shower, and my elbow was stinging like crazy. It hurt really bad, but I didn't want to tell my mom because I was afraid that I was going to get in trouble or something. I don't know what was going through my mind. I was just afraid that, you know, little kids get afraid that they'll get in trouble if they tell them that something happened. So I was afraid that, you know, I was going to get in trouble for falling off my bike, which wasn't even my fault really. And so I immediately go and take a shower, and I put on a different long sleeve shirt, and I kind of keep the long sleeve shirt like routine going for a couple days before my mom kind of like sees something is wrong. She's like, "Why are you wearing long sleeve shirts every single day when you live in Florida? It's like 90 degrees. You're gonna have a heat stroke or something." And eventually, yeah, my mom caught on to the fact that I was wearing long sleeve shirts like way too often, and she wanted to know what was up. So it kind of came to the point where I was like backed into a wall, so I had to tell her that I had fallen off my bike and I had scraped my elbow. Now this was a few days later. It was about 4 to 5 days later of me not properly cleaning my elbow or my shoulder or anything cleaned, and I hadn't hadn't really looked at it or paid attention to it much. I just kind of went about with my day and really didn't, you know, focus on it too much. But the second that I told my mom, she was like, oh my God, no, are you serious? And she asked me if I was okay and stuff, and I was like, yeah, it happened a few days ago. There's nothing wrong with it. Until she told me to take off my shirt, and the second that she saw my elbow, it was just like pure fear in her face. I don't really know any other way to describe it other than she just looked like she had just seen a ghost or something. Whenever I had taken off my shirt and she saw my elbow, my entire elbow had a huge like a, I don't know what it was called, a Stein infection. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go with my mom. Alright, I just asked my mom, and it turns out I had a really bad staph infection on my elbow. Like, if you looked at it, it was all red, and it was pink and gray and yellow, and it looked like something out of like an infection from like Halo or something. Like, it was really fucking gross. And it had all these bubbles on it, and it looked like, I don't know, it looked like a freaking cyst or something. I don't want to put a picture of that on the screen because that'd be freaking gross. But you know, it did look like one of the Flood from Halo. But that's not really... What the fuck was that? But anyways, I had a really bad staph infection. So my mom tried to keep calm, and my mom just tried to keep me calm. She was like, "Oh, you're okay. Let's just go ahead and try to get this cleaned up." So she gets a rag, and she gets soap, and she gets some medicine, and she just basically puts it in this like a bandage thing, and she tries to basically keep, like, you know, control it herself, tries to keep it calm. This is like in the early stages of the staph infection, by the way. Like, she was basically just trying to make sure that it didn't get any worse. But she basically told me all the rules and guidelines, and she was like, okay, after you go to recess, you're gonna have to change this bandage, you're gonna have to go into the bathroom, you're gonna have to clean it, and then put a new bandage on when you're at school, and then whenever you get home from school, you're gonna put a new bandage on just to make sure that, you know, it's clean and stuff. But the only thing that processed through my mind while she was explaining this was, oh, hey, just come home after school and you can change your bandage then. I didn't take into the fact that I was supposed to change my bandage like 3 times a day. So here I am going to recess and playing around in the class, playing games in class and all this stuff while learning and doing all this stuff, getting sweaty and stuff, and then I don't change my bandage for like 3 to 4 hours. Just, you know, it kind of sits there and it's all sweaty and gross. And after about a week, it progressively made my staph infection worse than it was before. It just got to the point of where I got a fever that was very bad. Like, I got a fever that was I think I had like 103 or 104 fever. It was a very bad fever just because of this infection that was on my elbow. And after a little bit, it actually started spreading a little bit up my forearm before my mom decided that enough was enough and that I needed to go to the hospital like immediately. So we pulled up to the hospital, and my mom was freaking out because the staph infection wasn't getting any better. It was getting worse and worse every single day. And so the second we went up to the hospital attendant and they asked us what was wrong, my mom told the staff attendant at the front desk that I had a really bad staph infection. And so the lady asked to see it just to make sure that, you know, everything was okay and that I could wait and stuff. But the second that I rolled up my sleeve, the lady, she looked like she had seen a ghost. She had probably never seen something that gruesome in her entire life. Like, it was honestly the most disgusting thing you would ever see in your entire life. So the lady immediately signals me to go straight to the ER, and once we get to the ER, they put me on this like stretcher thing, and they rush me to this room where there's these 2 ladies, and they immediately try to stop the infection because it just looks so freaking gross. Like, I don't really know how to describe it other than that. And so they immediately get to work on trying to clean the wound. Like, they get rubbing alcohol or whatever they had, and they were just rubbing it on there, trying to clean it up a little bit, getting like, I don't know if it was soap or something, but they were putting like a whole bunch of creams on it, trying to like keep it contained just for a little bit because it was just like gross. I've said that it looked gross like 13 times in this video so far probably. But after being at the hospital for a few hours, after they clean it regularly, every hour or so, every 30 minutes or so, they cleaned it, these 2 ladies came into the room, and I was just laying on the hospital bed not really knowing what was going on when these ladies were like, all right, well, the infection has gotten really bad and it's gotten to the point of where it could actually kill your son. And my mom was just there. She was extremely scared and extremely worried. My grandma and my brother were also there, and they were just, I don't know what my brother was doing, probably laughing like he did whenever I broke my arm. But anyways, there I am just laying there not really knowing what's going on, because like being told that there's like a chance that I could die, I'm not really gonna, you know, take that in as much as an adult would, I guess you could say. So the lady tells us that I need to get 2 shots immediately, and it will start to bring my fever down, and it will you know, bring the infection down a lot. What these ladies did not mention to me beforehand, before they brought the needles out, was that these needles looked like they were fucking samurai swords. Biggest needles that I've ever seen in my entire life. They were were thick, like they were like, you could put a glass of water in there or something. Like, it was the biggest, thickest needles that I've ever seen in my entire life. I was just freaking out, like, oh my god, you're gonna stick that in me? Gay! It wasn't that bad until I realized what was coming next. They brought in not one needle, but two. They had to stick both of the needles in each of my legs at the exact same time. I don't know. The second that I felt those go into my leg, I didn't cry or anything. My mom said that I was like a champ, like I was a soldier or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I'm a soldier. But they stuck these needles in my leg. I swear to God, it like went halfway into my leg or something, and they injected something into my leg. And about a minute after that, my legs just got extremely numb, and it got to the point where we couldn't even function. So here I am, not being able to function, and the doctors tell me that everything will be all right now, and the infection, you know, won't spread anymore, and that should be enough. And then they gave my mom the prescriptions, like she can go to like Walgreens and get these special pills for me to take every single day to keep the infection down. And so yeah, she gave them the prescription, and we were just out the door the next day, or not the next day, but within the next 10 minutes we were out the door. But they gave me the option if I wanted to have a wheelchair or if I wanted to just be carried out. And I don't know why I didn't go with the wheelchair. I just assumed that it would make me look weak or something. Like I didn't want to look like a pussy or something. I don't know. Wheelchairs are cool. All the people that are in wheelchairs 24/7 with their lives, I look up to you guys because you guys have it really rough and you guys are absolute beasts. And so I decided that I wanted to be carried out. So my family carried me out to the car, and I couldn't move my legs whatsoever. And it was, I don't know, it was just a really weird experience, and I almost died from that infection. If I had not gone any sooner, I probably wouldn't be here today, and I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos and trying to entertain you guys as much as I possibly can. So I'm definitely glad that I, you know, ended up telling my mom about it, because if my mom didn't know about it and then a week later I was just really sick in my bed or whatever and I didn't do anything about it, I couldn't be here. So yeah, it's kind of sad. But anyways, that is the end of the story. I hope you guys really enjoyed this story. And before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to somebody really quick. But anyways, that's the end of the story. That is the time that I almost died. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. And I'd also like to ask something of you before any of you guys go. If you have a Twitter account, I was wondering if you guys could please follow my friend Dice Omniscient. He recently started up his Twitter account again. So if you guys could please go ahead and follow him or something and, you know, support his Twitter account since he just made it. He has like 15 followers. If you guys can get him to like 50 followers or like 100 followers or something, that'd be absolutely crazy. His @name is on the screen right here, and his link is also going to be the second link in the description. So please go ahead and go and follow Dice Omniscient. It would mean a lot to me. And if you do go ahead and follow him, please be sure to tweet a picture at me of you following him on Twitter @KreepyKoalaYT. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to leave a like. Let's hit a goal of like 300 likes. If we can hit 300 likes, then I'll be able to put food on my family's table, my 6 wives and 32 children, and everyone in my family will be able to eat for the first time this Thanksgiving. Please, it's like a few months away, but if you guys can help me get that like goal, I can really feed my family.